Welcome to the Johnny Fongo Show. I am Johnny Fongo. It is April 17th, 2021. We're going to do a weekend recap here and look at all the news in cannabis from the past week. A little bit about the show. If you've listened before, you know all about it, so you can fast forward on through this. Basically, I'm just wanting to share my research on the cannabis sector, particularly publicly traded companies. We're going to look at everything cannabis, THC, CBD, hemp, and everything in between. Some stories I talk about are going to be companies that are not publicly traded yet. Now, I am not a financial advisor, just a regular guy, big fan of the plant, big fan of investing, big fan of trading, and a big fan of research. So I hope you enjoy the information I share. Any stock or company I talk about is not a recommendation to buy it. It is more a recommendation to learn more about the company if it fits into your strategy. With that being said, let's get to it. Got a ton of news to look at today. Let's do a rundown real quick of some most recent headlines that are kind of interesting. First off, Halo Collective announces appointment of Ryan Kunkel, CEO and founder of cannabis retailer Have a Heart, as vice chairman and director. That came out last night at 8:45 p.m. from the Dow Jones Newswire. Congratulations, Ryan. Oracan Holdings announces stock option and restricted share unit grants, 7:30 p.m. Globe Newswire. Heritage Cannabis Holdings Corporation reports annual general and special meeting results, 6:09 p.m. Business Newswire. Grown Rogue files amended and restated Q1 financial statements and management discussion and analysis. 5:48 p.m. Dow Jones. Poll: 69% of Americans support cannabis legislation. 5:45 p.m. from Benzinga. Well, hey, that's a lot. So why don't we have it legalized? Flower One announces anticipated delay in annual filings. 5:30 p.m. Business Newswire. Going to come back to this one this week in cannabis. New Mexico, Switzerland, federal legalization, Afria, organogram, and more. There's been a lot going on between New Mexico, New York, Virginia. Looks like the banking bill is going to be getting a shot here this coming week. That's pretty exciting. Hopefully we can get some expungements knocked out, expungements. I think that's the way we say it. Next up, Colorado Edibles brand Taste Buds launches THC dissolvable powder, EB. Perfect for post-workout recovery. That comes out at 4:59 p.m. from Benzinga. All right. Hit a few more here, and then we'll jump into some bigger stories. Here again, marijuana banking bill expected to get a House floor vote next week. Sponsor's office says. Comes from Marijuana Movement, 2:09 p.m. through Benzinga. Afria and Tilray Cannabis merger moves a step closer to approval. 1:58 p.m. Market Watch. If you don't like hangovers, this is for you. GTI launches cannabis beverage brand Can in Illinois. 12:51 p.m. from Benzinga. Interesting. Global and China cannabis oil markets 2016 to 2021 and 2021 to 2026 projections, researchandmarkets.com. It's got a lot of numbers in it. I looked over that. It's interesting. Seth Rogen's cannabis brand Houseplant now available in San Francisco, Berkeley, Capitola. Green Scientific Labs implements new testing methods to cut down on carbon footprint. 10 a.m. from the PR Newswire. Boston Cannabis Delivery Company Zip Run secures $2.3 million in seed funding. Baslet Oglesby enters the Georgia cannabis market with its patented THC-free Panica plants. That's going to be one we're looking at here later. Okay, that came out yesterday at 8 a.m. Eastern Time, PR Newswire. Green Grow Technologies CE discusses federal legalization of cannabis and company expansion plan on Fox News, 8:06 a.m. News file. Mushroom and the Brain. Kind of like Pinky and the Brain a little bit. Functional and psychedelic mushrooms continue to dominate health and medical trends, 8:02 a.m. Eastern Time, News file. Trulieve announces expungement programs in several states as part of a 420 celebration. We're going to come back to that one. I'm very interested in that. That's a great little story to look at. That came out yesterday at 8 a.m. Eastern Time, PR Newswire. Aletha Health to announce 2021 first quarter results, 8 a.m. Globe Newswire. Upcoming Wealth 365 Summit to include investor relations speakers and wealth charts enhancements, 7:55 a.m. PR Newswire. Columbia Care expands in Europe, launches proprietary cannabis capsule in UK. 7:51 from Benzinga. Very interesting. Have to look at that one further. Handheld marijuana medical vaporizer market are expected to top $26 billion in 2031. Persistent market research. That comes out 7:30 a.m. from the PR Newswire. Verano announces opening of a second Zenleaf dispensary in New Jersey. Cultivation expansion underway. 7 a.m. from the Globe Newswire. High Tide expands into Ottawa with launch of Byward Market Retail Cannabis Store. 6 a.m. PR Newswire. All right, that's going to wrap up pretty much the most recent headlines that I find pretty interesting. There's more out there. Cover a lot of stories that I look at, and I just try to pick out the most interesting ones and the ones that appeal to me. So that's kind of where we're at with that. All right, let's start back here, with the Halo Collective announces appointment of Ryan Kunkel, CEO and a founder of cannabis retailer Have a Heart, as vice chairman and director. Halo, which on the OTCQX is AGEEF. On the NEO, it is simply HALO, Halo. On the Germany Stock Exchange, it is A9KN. You can find that ticker there. Okay, they are pleased to announce the appointment of Ryan Kunkel. He is our Chief Executive Officer and founder of Have a Heart, to the Halo team as company's Vice Chairman and as an independent director of the company. Mr. Kunkel is a leading industry expert and entrepreneur in cannabis. He was instrumental in the raise of $50 million in 2 private offerings, which enabled him to expand Have a Heart footprint by creating an organizational infrastructure to maintain the dispensary storefronts at a rapid pace. With a focus on operations, fundraising, and application development, Kunkel quickly expanded the brand to 13 operational stores in 6 different states, with a total of 26 winning applications. Under his stewardship, the Have a Heart business grew to more than 500 active employees. His expertise in the industry enabled him to identify and capture the leading market share in Washington State, one of the most saturated cannabis markets in the U.S. Mr. Kunkel's professional accolades include Marijuana Ventures 40 Under 40 in 2018, where he was recognized for his success and promise in the cannabis industry with Have a Heart's track record and performance. He continued to build on his opening delivery and retail operations in 5 jurisdictions across California. The 2019 gross revenue for Have a Heart was $58.2 million, with sales per square foot averaging $8,553. Those are great numbers. All right, so it goes on to talk about some of his things that he's done, and he's been quite active. So we want to congratulate Ryan on his new position there. Looks like he's a mover and shaker out there when we need those. Next up, poll, 69% of Americans support cannabis legalization. That's kind of a given. Goes on to say here, a record high 69% of Americans support the legalization of marijuana, according to a new Quinnipiac University poll. That's up by 18% compared to the first time interviews conducted the survey in 2012, and 12% from 2019. The survey showed that 62% of Republicans favor ending prohibition, according to Marijuana Market. In addition, Democrats support the cause, as well as 78% of them being in favor. Well, basically it goes on to say, how this whole thing breaks down. So that's pretty much a majority. 69%. Let's get this thing done. Goes on to say here, and while 70% of registered voters support adult use legislation, President Joe Biden is still among those who oppose it. However, he supports decriminalization, record expungement, legalization of medical cannabis, as well as granting states the right to set their laws regarding the issue. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer said Sunday that a bill to legalize marijuana on the federal level will end up on the floor of his chamber soon. Once it's introduced, it will go to the floor. Schumer has been drafting the measure with Senate Finance Committee Chairman Ron Wyden and Senator Cory Booker. We'll see what happens. That's great news, though. Next up, Colorado Edibles brand Taste Buds with a Z launches THC dissolvable powder, EB, perfect for post-workout recovery. Today at 4:59 p.m., coming to us from Benzinga. Colorado cannabis-infused edibles brand Taste Buds announced Thursday the launch of a quick-acting THC dissolvable powder. I'm really interested in that one. The new product is powered by nano-encapsulating technology, has an onset time of 15 minutes, and offers consumers the option to consume it with preferred food or beverage. It contains electrolytes and vitamin C. It is water-soluble, low in sugar, vegan, and gluten-free. Holy freaking cow. That's like the perfect beverage. You get your little... and then you get a little vitamin C. Ebb was designed to honor its earth-centered name, inspired by the ebb and flow of the ocean. Nice. Having an eco-friendly packaging created of recycled cardboard and minimal plastic. The package is also child-resistant. Oh, great. Looks like a really nice package here. So they've got 4 different flavors. Goes on to say, I have always been intrigued by the prospect of THC dissolvables, said Brooks Allman, founder of Ebb. With Ebb's proprietary formulations, we offer fast-acting products that are perfect for both entry-level cannabis consumers who might be intimidated by the idea of dosing edibles, which, yeah, I can dig that. They can get you. As well as more experienced consumers who are looking for an interactive or innovative way to consume cannabis. Ebb can be added to just about anything. Smoothies, guac. It's perfect for post-workout recovery. Okay, the product comes in 4 different varieties. Immunity Support Orange Mango, Electrolyte Enhanced Wild Berry, Pink Lemonade, and Pure, which is a flavorless option. It features 10 milligrams of THC per serving. All right, that's a cool story. Taste Buds, I'll have to keep an eye out for that. Auxly receives approval to begin trading on the Toronto Stock Exchange April 20th, 2021. Hey, now that's just a coincidence, I think. Auxly Cannabis Group on the OTCQX. They are CBWTF. On the TSXV, they are XLY. They're leading consumer packaged goods in the cannabis product sector. Now, they're pleased to announce that it has received final approval from the Toronto Stock Exchange, TSX, to graduate from the TSX Venture Exchange, TSXV, and list its common shares on the TSX. Okay, so we're getting uplifted here. That's great. They're going to commence trading on Tuesday, April 20th, 2021, under its existing symbol, XLY, in connection with the listing on the TSX. The last day of trading on TSXV will be April 19th. All right. Congratulations, Auxly. Next up, here we have a little story about cannabis regulatory update. Federal legalization bill, medical marijuana for veterans, Alabama, Minnesota, Indiana, Tennessee. Okay, so it's kind of a combination of a few different things here, folks. So I'm just going to kind of hit on the highlights. Let's see. Senate Majority Leader Schumer says federal cannabis legalization bill will reach the floor soon. Yes, we've discussed that. We've seen that, and that's great news. So they're looking like to push this bad boy through. They could get after this. I don't know. I'm not holding my breath, but Well, it's been, 1939? I have to do the math. But it's been a while that we've had this prohibition, so we need to get this taken care of. That's an important story. We're going to keep up with that kind of stuff. Alabama medical cannabis legalization reaches House floor after Senate approval. Hey, here we go. The Alabama House Health Committee approved Thursday a Senate-passed bill to legalize medical cannabis in the state, advancing to the floor, writes Marijuana Movement. Prior to the approval, the measure was reviewed on the panel Wednesday when several changes were proposed. The bill, sponsored by Senator Tim Melson, Republican, would enable patients suffering from specific health issues to use cannabis as therapy. So compassionate. The measure also calls for the formation of Alabama Medical Cannabis Commission, which will handle regulations and licensing, reports the outlet. Around 20 conditions qualify patients for medical marijuana, such as PTSD, anxiety, intractable pain, and sleep disorders. All right, next up, bipartisan bill to legalize medical cannabis for military veterans presented in Congress. All right, here we go again. A bipartisan bill to legalize medical cannabis for military veterans was introduced in Congress on Thursday, according to Marijuana Moment. The measure is sponsored by co-chairs of the Congressional Cannabis Caucus in the House. Representatives Barbara Lee, Democrat California, Dave Joyce, Republican Ohio, along with 9 other co-sponsors in the Senate. The bill is being pushed by Senator Brian Schatz, Democrat Hawaii, and 5 other lawmakers, including Senator Bernie Sanders, Independent Vermont. The Veterans Medical Marijuana Safe Harbor Act would temporarily enable veterans to possess and use cannabis by a doctor's recommendation under state's law, reports the outlet. Furthermore, doctors of the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs would be enabled to give those recommendations for the first time. There we go. That'd be great. The measure would also ask the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs to research the medicinal potential of cannabis for treating pain and helping with the reduction of opiate overuse. This is amazing. It has been scientifically proven that medical marijuana has a considerable impact in treating conditions common with veterans when they return from service, like chronic pain and PTSD, Lee stated. The legislation will empower veterans and their doctors to make informed decisions about use of medical marijuana to treat chronic conditions in states with legal medical marijuana programs without federal interference. All right. Hey, that's a great thing, and we're going to keep watching that. Cannabis legalization bill passes 6th House Committee in Minnesota. A bill to legalize cannabis in Minnesota was approved by the House Judiciary, Finance, and Civil Law Committee on Wednesday. This is the 6th House Committee that has approved it, reports Marijuana Moment. The measure was first presented in February by House Majority Leader Ryan Winkler, Democrat, Speaker Melissa Hortman, Democrat, and other lawmakers. If turned into law, this would allow adults to legally buy and own up to 1.5 ounces of cannabis and grow up to 8 plants. That's a lot of plants. The purpose of House File 600 is to eliminate harm that cannabis has in our society. Winkler said of the bill at the hearing, the primary harm that cannabis poses in Minnesota is the prohibition and criminal enforcement of cannabis. Very good. Indiana governor signs legislation amending current traffic safety law in relation to cannabis consumption. Indiana Governor Eric Holcomb signed legislation to enable a legal defense for those car drivers charged with violating the state's cannabis per se traffic safety law, writes Normal. This means that under the new law, those motorists with traces of THC or its metabolite in the body, but who are not responsible for a traffic accident and who have no evidence of intoxication, will be offered an affirmative defense, reports the outlet. The state's current traffic safety law doesn't allow any detectable level of either THC or THC metabolites in motorists while driving. Slowly but surely, the Indiana law is changing. Limited medical cannabis bill moved to the Senate floor in Tennessee. A medical cannabis bill was approved by a committee in Tennessee. Advancing it to the Senate floor reported marijuana moment. Full disclosure, I used to live in Tennessee for about 15 years, so kind of like this story. The measure, sponsored by Becky Duncan Massey, amends the state's statute creating medical marijuana exceptions for patients suffering from one of the 11 conditions, including cancer, epilepsy, PTSD, HIV, AIDS, and multiple sclerosis. There is one big issue with the proposed measure, though. The state doesn't have any cannabis dispensaries, and the bill clearly demands patients obtain medical cannabis from a licensed medical dispensary in a jurisdiction where the sale of cannabis is legal. Well, that's screwy. All right. This seems to mean that the measure is either aimed at those out-of-state medical cannabis patients who are traveling through Tennessee, or for the local patients traveling to another state, getting a medical cannabis recommendation, buying it there, and bringing it back to the volunteer state. Oh, my goodness. What? Oh. Okay. What's more, the measure also proposes many limitations on what type of cannabis one could possess. Oh, great. Let's hear this. A more generous bill to create medical cannabis program in the state passed several committees this year, but was denied by the Senate Judiciary Committee in March. Okay. Sorry, my friends in Tennessee. Looks like it may be a slow go for you down there. All right, next up, if you don't like hangovers, this is for you. GTI launches a cannabis beverage brand, Can, with 2 N's, in Illinois. Green Thumb Industries on the CSE. You can find it at GTII on the OTCQX. You can find it at GTBIF. It's a cannabis consumer packaged goods company. Okay, Green Thumb Industries. Now, they confirmed Thursday that the launch of cannabis-infused beverage brand Can in the state of Illinois. Can with 2 N's, by the way. The company has recently announced that they are teaming up to introduce the beverage brand to cannabis consumers in Illinois and New Jersey. Other markets will follow suit. Residents of the Prairie State can now purchase canned beverages at all Rise dispensaries in Illinois, except Mundelein, as well as at Mocha, MedMen, and Ascend retail stores. Green Thumb further shared plans to present Can line at Rise Joliet, Colorado, Rise Lake in the Hills, Rise Niles in August. Okay. The cannabis beverage category is expanding as adults seek alcohol alternatives, and Can delivers a superior experience. Green Thumb founder and chief executive officer Ben Kovler stated, "We see Can as a substitute to seltzers, wine, and beer for new cannabis consumers looking to reduce or replace alcohol, but still want the familiar social interaction of sharing a drink with friends and family. If you don't like hangovers, this is for you." Can's social tonics contain small amounts of sugar, a low number of calories. They are crafted with all-natural juice, organic agave nectar, herbs, and microdoses of CBD and THC extracts. Okay, that'll be interesting. They sound delicious. Next up, as lease addendums rise, marijuana businesses adapt by purchasing commercial property. All right, key highlights here of this story. Members residing in states where legal marijuana saw an increase in demand for warehouses. Next one is nearly half of those states that legalized marijuana prior to 2016 have seen addendums added to leases restricting growing on properties. That's unfair. Next, there is an increase in purchasing properties for marijuana-related businesses instead of leasing. Okay. It goes on to say, as marijuana becomes legalized in more parts of the country, and as increasing numbers of states grow, harvest, store, sell, and allow consumption, the nation's retail industry has felt the effects. According to a new report from the National Association of Realtors, there has been a noticeable rise in the demand for warehouses, land, and storefronts used for marijuana. The 2021 survey, Marijuana and Real Estate, a Budding Issue, examines the legality of marijuana in terms of medical only, legalized medical and recreational prior to and after 2016. More than one-third of the respondents in the state where marijuana has been legalized, the longest said inventory was tight for multiple reasons, and cited the marijuana industry as one of the factors. This is also true for those in areas where marijuana was more recently legalized, as 23% of realtors also partially blamed the marijuana industry for limited inventory. Blame? Okay, whatever. The dynamics of marijuana have been far-reaching over the past year, which is evident when you see how it has impacted real estate, said Jessica Lotz, Vice President of Demographics and Behavioral Insights for NAR. As the marijuana laws continue to evolve, realtors have witnessed increased demand for commercial properties to store, grow, and sell marijuana. That's called customers. Okay. Goes on to talk about this. We're not going to get too far into it, but it looks like these companies now are just saying, okay, well, we're just going to buy our building and do with it what we want, which, hey, more power to them. Next up, Boston cannabis delivery company ZipRun secures $2.3 million seed funding. ZipRun, the first social equity company to create a cannabis delivery platform, announced today the completion of $2.3 million seed funding round led by Molitium Capital. ZipRun is on track to become the first adult-use cannabis delivery company in Boston. Molitium Capital has a deep experience in cannabis delivery and saw the value in our team, proprietary software, and first-to-market community leadership. They also share our commitment to supporting communities in Massachusetts and beyond who have been disproportionately affected by marijuana prohibition and enforcement. Next up, Baselet Oglesby enters the Georgia cannabis market with its patented THC-free Panica plants. Neon Bloom Incorporated, OTC, NBCO. Baselet Oglesby, a global leader in legal industrial hemp industry, announced yesterday that it has built, delivered, and planted its patented 0.00% THC Panica cannabis plants in South Georgia. Yeah, 0% THC. Why? Let's figure it out. Baselet Oglesby enters the Georgia cannabis market. That's great. Following the company's rural development initiatives, its first crop located in southwest Georgia is the adaptive reuse of the former Green Valley Country Club. The site is one of the several in Georgia that the company will utilize to produce its 2021 Panacea crop. Panacea, the first U.S. PTO patented cannabis plant in the world. Panacea plants contain 0.0% tetrahydrocannabinol, THC, an illegal substance under federal law that is found in all marijuana and hemp plants. Panacea plants have the most promising of all cannabinoids for the use of food, drug, and cosmetic applications. Baselet is the licensed patent, trademark, and manufacturer of Panacea and the first to market in the development of innovation of THC-free cannabis ingredients. Called by some the Tesla of cannabis, Baselet built Panacea plants to allow access to the diverse and therapeutic compounds found in cannabis, but with zero risk of breaking federal law and zero risk of unwanted intoxication from THC. Baselet Oglesby is one of the few companies positioned to establish legal cannabis as a respected, sustainable industry. We are honored to accept with responsibility that we are part of authoring its history and excited to serve the Georgia market, said Gary Hennon, director with Baselet Oglesby. Baselet Chief Medical Officer Dr. Francisco Ward commented that Georgia is expected to soon launch a new low-THC medical marijuana program. Baselet is uniquely positioned to provide Georgia's healthcare professionals exceptional cannabinoid-derived products that are safe, effective, and made from the world's only 0.0 THC cannabis plant collection. About Baselet Oglesby. They're an innovative plant science company establishing itself as a world leader in tissue culture propagation and the production of young plants for the global horticultural industry. The company is a subsidiary of Baselet Health Systems and Oglesby Plants International. Baselet Health Systems Incorporated is wholly owned by Neon Bloom Incorporated. And there you go. Next up, Green Grow Technologies CEO discusses federal legalization of cannabis and company's expansion plan on Fox News. All right, they're getting some ads out there. They're getting some airtime, talking their thing. Green Grow, full disclosure, I owned some of them back in the day. Their ticker is GRNH. I think I did quite well with them. Actually, looking at them again, they're in a nice range. I wouldn't mind picking up a few shares myself. Let you know what happens. Basically, it goes on to talk about the bill that Schumer is getting out there. They're very positive on that. And why wouldn't we be? We need to get this thing knocked down and let it just run its course and see where we get. TrueLeaf announces expungement programs in several states as part of a 420 celebration. Partnerships with Minority Law, Minorities for Medical Marijuana, Cultivate Ed, and Georgia Justice Project will include clinics and virtual events across Florida, Georgia, and Massachusetts. TrueLeaf Cannabis Company on the Canadian Stock Exchange, it is TRUL. On the OTCQX, it is TCNNF. TrueLeaf, or the company, a leading and top-performing cannabis company based in the United States, announced today a series of expungement clinics located throughout the South and Central Florida, as well as virtual events in Georgia and Massachusetts. The clinics are part of a company's celebration of the 50th anniversary of 420. During the month of April, Minority Law has hosted expungement clinics and will be hosting two more as follows. Relief Patient Appreciation Day, April 17th in Bel Rico. First annual 420 event, St. Petersburg Beach. And I think that's in Florida. At these clinics, an attorney will be present to review records to see if someone is eligible for sealing or expungement of their records. As part of the events, TrueLeaf will be helping cover the cost for fingerprints, legal fees, and court costs. And that's great. That sounds like that could be, and should be a very popular event. All right. Columbia Care expands in Europe, launches proprietary cannabis capsule in the UK. Another global story. I always love to talk about those. Columbia Care, the tickers are on the NEO, CCHW. On the CSE, it is CCHW. On the OTCQX, it is CCHWF. On the FSE, it is 3LP. It is launching a solid-fill cannabis powder capsule for medicinal use under the Seed trademark in the United Kingdom. The New York-based company opted to expand its product offering with the first solid-fill capsule of its kind in UK. In addition, it's the first dose-metered medicinal cannabis product to be produced in the country. The capsules come in several formulations containing various THC and CBD doses. The product was initially developed and commercialized in the U.S., the expansion of the product offering in the U.K. is a response to physicians' and patients' demand for more precise dosing options. To be the first in any market is a reflection of our prudent capital allocation process and culture of collaboration that permeates all aspects of our business, says Nicholas Vita, the company's CEO. Okay, we're going to get close to wrapping it up here. Psychedelics company Silo Wellness may reach Latin America with its psilocybin nasal spray. All right, I piqued my interest. All right, Silo Wellness Incorporated on the CSE, Silo, on the FRA, it is 3K70. Confirmed Tuesday, it plans to enter a patent licensing agreement with Jungle Med Incorporated, a health and wellness company operating in Latin America. What happened? The psychedelics company signed a binding letter of intent via a wholly owned subsidiary for a multi-year patent licensing deal to exclusively produce, market, distribute, and sell its patent-pending metered dosing psilocybin nasal spray in Colombia and Brazil. Oh, I'll be darned. The letter of intent specifies an upfront licensing fee of $250,000, a 5-year term with automatic renewal provisions, providing sales, distribution, and advertising expectations are fulfilled upon and or seeding, and royalty provision. Silo explained that metered dosing ingestion options with a quicker uptake speed are necessary as they can help avoid accidental high dosing. When a consumer takes another dose before even experiencing the effects of the first one, according to the company, smaller doses of psychedelic mushrooms may help a consumer by providing them with all the advantages of psychedelics without the psychedelic trip experience. Silo Wellness was created to enhance wellness through psychedelics and functional foods. Douglas K. Gordon, chief executive of Silo Wellness, stated, "The company's patent-pending nasal spray makes psilocybin easier to access, administer, and ingest. One of the inherent challenges with ingesting psilocybin mushrooms orally is the discomfort it can cause to one's digestive system. However, nasal spray solves this problem through bypassing the digestive system and entering the bloodstream through the nasal membranes." Makes sense. Why it matters. This is Silo's first commercial transaction for its intellectual property. Gordon further added that this deal takes the company's intellectual property beyond Jamaica, marking its expansion into Latin America. Dr. Beverly Richardson, chief executive officer of Jungle Med, noted that they trust the power of nature and plants, making this partnership a natural decision. Recent activities. In March, the Oregon-based psychedelic companies went public via a reverse takeover of Flyover Equity Incorporated, listing its stock on the Canadian Stock Exchange. That same month, Silo confirmed it has obtained exclusive worldwide rights to work with the family of Bob Marley to brand, advertise, and sell a special line of functional and psychedelic mushroom products. Hey, that's not a bad thing. Having the Marley name attached to the company's products may help its popularization in Jamaica, where Silo already owns a research and mushroom cultivation facility and organizes psilocybin retreats. Ah, okay, cool. So they're knee deep into it. Okay, so Silo, I don't think they're traded here in the States yet, but something to keep on your watch list. Keep a Google thing going on them, see what you can find out. All right, so we're going to finish up here and run through a few stories here in the week of cannabis. All right, we're going to wrap things up here with this last little bit. Just want to take a second to thank everyone that's been listening, that's tuned in from all around the world. Really appreciate it. Going to keep doing this, enjoying it. Getting the word out here on these companies, the sector. We do have a social media platform, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Reach out to us. Let us know how you like things. Let us know what you're trading. I'd love to hear that too. Let us hear your wins, your losses. That's all part of it. And just once again, just thank you for listening. We really appreciate it. We're going to end up here with the week in cannabis, New Mexico, Switzerland, federal legalization, AFRIA, organogram, and more. In spite of some good news on the legalization front, cannabis stocks traded down this week, largely driven by lackluster earnings reports out of big Canadian companies. On Monday, New Mexico became the latest state to legalize adult use after Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham signed the Cannabis Regulation Act. Sales are expected to begin before April 2022. Following the legalization wave led by New York and Virginia, this approval puts more than 43% of Americans living in legal cannabis jurisdictions, according to the Marijuana Policy Project. Next up here, Switzerland will officially launch a trial version of a legal recreational cannabis market on May 15th. The Swiss Federal Office of Public Health noted that the trial aims to offer a scientific basis for future regulation of cannabis. All right, that's great. Looks like all the main ETFs that they cover here, MJ, YOLO, MSOS, THSX, CNBS, they're all down significantly this week. It has been a down week for the stocks in cannabis. Yeah, Sundial took a big hit. Yeah, it's down to 84 at the end of Friday. Yeah, across the board. I mean, Tilray, it's down 17 something now. So yeah, I think a lot of people are just taking some profits, and I don't blame you. You got to do it. That's why we do this. All right, goes on to talk about a few things here. Akerna Corp, NASDAQ, KERN, expects national cannabis retail sales to reach 95 million on 4/20 and on official marijuana holiday. That's according to the news flash report out of the Denver-based company. All right, I'm sure it's going to be a big day. Afria, NASDAQ, APHA, posted financial results for third quarter and 9 months ended February 28th. The company generated $122.5 million U.S. in net third quarter revenue. That's a year-over-year increase of 6.4% and a sequential decline of 4.3%. Organigram Holdings, OGI, reported that gross revenue decreased 29% by year-over-year to roughly $15.4 million in the second quarter fiscal 2021. Cresco Labs has taken over Bluma Wellness in an all-stock transaction of over $213 million. Jushi Holdings acquired a 93,000 square foot facility operated by its subsidiary Delisto LLC for around $22 million. Keef Brands is expanding eastward into 3 new states, Missouri, Ohio, and Maine. All right, that's going to wrap us up here for the Johnny Fongo Show. Appreciate you listening once again. Want you to have a good day. Enjoy your time. Get some research in. I'm Johnny Fongo. This is the Johnny Fongo Show. I want you to have a profitable day.